Recording in progress.
I'm leaving that in. I'm also leaving this in. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 10, double figures of the LFC Toronto show.
Boom.
International break is over. We are back. Liverpool are back. Premier League's back. Champions League's back. Jake's back. Dan's back. I'm back. Everything's back. And we are ready to go. How are you doing, fellas?
Yeah, can't wait. International break was great, you know.
Speaking of backs, there's a back right there.
Look at that backdrop.
Look at that backdrop. Thank you very much. That backdrop is beautiful, courtesy of our man Izaz. So thank you for that, and for all the haters, especially in the WhatsApp LFC Toronto chat. You better recognize. You know what I mean? You better recognize. Anyway.
That's amazing. The king, hey? King Naby.
The king, man. King Naby. The great.
So good.
Anyway.
You know, I just want to kick us off this week because obviously we aren't like young pop Liverpool fans anymore, especially let alone the people who have just recently started supporting Liverpool, who probably think this is like the easiest job in the world. But for the ones that have had years of pain behind us as well, normally around now we just want our season to be alive, like relatively alive, like something to play for. You know, in previous years we've even been like, oh, we're in contention for top 4, the season's not dead yet, and here we are about to go into the most alive season that we've ever had, and this is it now. This is the home straight. How are you lads feeling?
Daniel, Mr. Keita?
Mr. Keita. No, amazing, man. You know what? I think the break has allowed us to soak in all the narrative and the media and the build-up, and obviously the qualifying, you know, like World Cup qualifying. Canada, shout out to our Maple men. Respect for that team, man, and we should actually dedicate a section for that. But anyway, that being said, you know, just watching you know, a few things being talked about this run, and I it's really so neck and neck, and you know, there's so much around. You know, if City could choose the Champions League and if we could choose the Premier League, and you know, this sort of like for us, or for me, it's like, let's win it all, man. Let's win it all. Like, after this stuff, I mean, what is it? 17 matches left. Let's just win it all. Why not? You know, Jake, what do you think, man?
I feel it. You know, the euphoria is here. I just want to also say, we had a great rewind function.
Yes.
In the international break, these young gentlemen were singing up a storm, and the guitars were in full flight.
Shout out to Pat. Remember Pat?
The Pats, Benny, and Daniel here, plus our
Evie
voice box, Mo, Evie, the crew was
Mo,
great.
yes, Mo.
Such a fantastic event.
Shout out Mo.
Shout out to Mo, and it was a fantastic event.
Maybe more shout outs later on. But anyway.
Thank you to Carlsberg. Thank you to Premier Sports Montreal. Thank you to ENC.
Thank you.
And it was just
ENC, big thank you, and the staff, amazing. Kelly especially, great.
But on the point of where we're at, like, you're talking about those lean years, and we would be looking like, you know, at this point in time, we were like, what's the next kit? When's the next kit? The kit's coming out in May.
100%.
That was
what is it
big
going to look
thing,
like?
yeah.
And we're scouring the internet to be like, what's the design? Like, we know it's been out for a while. Like,
is it official?
What's these? And those are some of the high points of what we went through of like where we, you know, our season. And now though, wow, right? You know, I'm thinking, you know what? I have the feeling, you know, I think we can go 17-0. I think we can do that.
Wow.
I think we can do that.
Wow.
I think we can do that. I think we can do that.
Okay.
So do I.
Do you know what? By the way, the authority on you know, especially that, you know, Liverpool fans really want to hear from. Roy Hodgson came out today and, you know, wrote about our quadruple chances. So check it out on, you know, like whatever news media site it is. But even Roy is you know, commenting on the potential and you know, so it's just interesting to see. It's fascinating, and yes, as I mean, we've never been in this position before, so.
We're in the
Let's
conversation,
take
right?
it.
We're in the
Yeah,
conversation.
let's take it.
I don't care
Let's
about
take
anything
it.
else. We're in the conversation, and no one can say anything and take away from that point, right? We're in
Yeah.
we're all the competitions, and we're
Mhm.
running at such a nice high tempo. And even when we're playing shit, like we've been playing some bad games, we are still in contention for all of the stuff. Quadruple.
You know,
Quadrupes, man.
I know it's been mentioned in our Liverpool WhatsApp group. I can't remember. I think it might have been Liam, but the most recent overlap. So that's like Roy Keane,
Yes,
Gary Neville, Roy
Yeah.
Keane, Gary Neville, and Jamie Carragher talking. And in it, Roy Keane says, "There's no such thing as playing badly when you've got this kind of a winning streak." He's like, he completely refuses to, like, he's like, Liverpool are not playing badly. He's like, what would you rather than play well and not win? You know, so like that's the thing.
Yeah. And he's been a guy though. I mean, if you watch his and I think personally, I think he's been a brilliant pundit. Like obviously there's been some hot takes and he has that, like he pulls a heavy every now and then being a United whatever. But he was a great player. I mean, we all have to fess up to that, and a great leader. But he's about winning. And if you notice in that show, or just even in his regular punditry, it always comes back to that. And I think that's what I have confidence in with this squad, right? Like, I don't know if you guys share the same thing. We have winners. We have straight winners in the squad. And like, that's what it comes down to. So yeah, you may pop off a team 5-0, but we're still getting those dubs, man. We're still getting those dubs. So anyway, sorry, no, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I mean, like, what else do you think, man? Do you think like we're gonna run the gamut, or do you think it's gonna be a bit of a dodgy affair, as they say?
It depends really, because I actually don't think we've played that badly at all, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like I don't think we've been at our best, like I don't think you can win the league without winning ugly. Like, we didn't play great against Aston Villa that time, in 2019-20 when we did the last minute goal. Like, I just don't think you can. It's not a thing. The irony of it is, today, or this international break, Laporte just said, we play beautiful football, and they want a little bit of what they want to be a little bit like us. Yeah, you want to be a little bit like us.
Rent free.
Whatever, buddy.
Yeah, and we got Champions Leagues. Like, you want to be a little bit like us, because we know what winning Europe's like.
Sorry, can I just jump in there really quick? So I was actually chatting with one of my good friends. Actually, he's on just a WhatsApp group, but I just know him from time. And I shared this pod or video cast, whatever that we do with this show, that with him. He's an avid, obviously. He is actually quite good friends with a lot of the Team Canada players, actually. And ex-legends. So just shout out to that, Ray. By the way, Ray, if you're watching. But it was really funny because he had actually watched one of our episodes, our earlier ones, and he said, "Man, you guys are like not just like regular LFC dudes. You're like, yo, what did Harvey Elliott eat for breakfast?" kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, man, that's what it is. So like, even that, like the Laporte quote or whatever, but like that sort of stuff we talk about on the show, and honestly, that's probably up on our dressing room wall, man. Like, it's like, oh, he said that. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't know.
But you know what do you think,
Jake?
just
Motivation.
on that point, right? It's not just us three. It's not just us three that know what they ate for breakfast. And then what? And like Amar's got the guy at the Chippy in Liverpool. Like, it's
Amar,
not,
man. That man knows. Well connected.
It's not just us three. The amount of information that we all know about our squad on every level, whether it's the women's game, whether it's the youngins, it doesn't matter. We like eat and sleep and love this stuff. So as a result, innately we are informed on for this because we love it so much, right? But we are not the only three. Of course, we have a plethora of people on every, and the thing is, it's every age group, right? It's not just us.
Yes.
It's the youngsters. When you get Mo, and then he tells his story and then he starts rhyming off dates. When he starts rhyming off old dates, right, in the 80s and 90s and 20s and whatever else, and historical premises of this goal happened here and this play happened there, it's not just us. It's like the whole gambit of our universe is like this, right? We've got informed men, we've got women, we've got, the whole crew, the children, like, it's fantastic.
That's what happens. But that's what happens with our community, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like whether it be through our social, our email, or even the WhatsApp chat, which is like just a
Fire.
hate to say it like this, but like a
Fire.
shitstorm of disinformation
Fire.
coming through, like this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be. But like that, that informs us, and that really, But anyway, I just found that comment funny because I'm like, yeah, we do actually know a shit ton about our club and our city. I mean, and our second city, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, just proud to be associated with this great show and club. So anyway, I digress.
Right.
Back
Amazing.
to you.
No, it's all good. I couldn't agree more. I feel like and this week we got a little bit creative in the WhatsApp group as well, with just like all kinds of conversations going on. Which is actually a good segue to get into our star player and our greatest ever forward in the modern era. The man who's outscored everybody, the man who steps up in big games. He scored against them all. He scored against them all. He scored against Man United, hat-trick. He scored against Chelsea. He scored against Man City.
Sorry, was that Ian Rush you're talking about?
He scored against Arsenal. But no, for real though, like jokes aside, just being firstly clued up on the latest news, the new Mo mural is up, which is looking beautiful. Yeah. So my brother's he's taking my nephew to his first Liverpool game on Saturday for the Watford game. So I'm hoping for some pictures from the mural. But where's Mo's head at, man? Like another blow to the chin of Mohamed Salah. And like, how does this play out from here, fellas?
The laser beams, though. The laser beams. Like, what the hell? Like, well, the pictures, right? The still pictures of the green all over.
Yeah, that was
like
uncalled for. Like that's just uncalled for. I think they should have stepped in. Yeah,
I can't believe the hatred, though. The kits throwing stuff at this guy. Like, what the hell is going on? You've already won the match now.
I know. You've already won.
Why do you need to throw anything at the guy? I mean, I think that I don't know. I don't remember the last time when he lost the last time. Was he revved up, or did he play kind of like an average kind of like level?
Mo? No, I thought he played quite
when he came back from the last.
When he came from the last break, he's still
not necessarily. I'm going to say not necessarily the break, but when he lost to Mane, basically.
And
he
was on fire, right? He wasn't.
He's not. He's not August to December, Mo. Like you'd be wrong if you said that he is, and yet he's still our top scorer since the African Cup of Nations. So, like, I think, I know I said it, and Liam said it in the group as well this week. Is like we don't need Mo to score 12 goals and nobody else score any goals from now in these remaining 17 games. Like, it would be great for Mo to get like 7 or 8 goals in these 17 games, and like Mane to get 6 or 7, Bobby to get 6 or 7, Diaz, Jota, so like realistically it's all good. Like, we have 5 strikers right now, and all of them have come into this international break either playing really well, or in Mo's case, not as at his highest standard, but he's still scoring goals, and like he's getting opportunities. So I think we'll be fine there. I think we'll be fine there.
I think from the it's going to be an interesting perspective. These 17 games, just a different tangent. These 17 games we play, and whoever the 6 and 2 to even 7, 8, depending on the dynamic. I wonder at the end of the season how many 20 goal scorers we will have on our squad, or relatively close to that, just from that front, like 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to call it, whatever number.
Not even talking about midfield are going to be there, right?
Right. But
I mean, or they're already there.
Imagine if the peripheral guys, like Diaz just plays going to play like half a season, but imagine that those guys start chiming in some, like, and the numbers come up. I mean, we're already in the stats, the assists and like the goals, we're already at the top 3, right? But imagine we get the top 5, or like, it's just a straight, like, there isn't a position for anybody else, which is like on a different level. But
I'm a bit weary though. I don't know. I'm a bit weary though, Jake. I mean, like, I as much as you're, and yes, we've on form, and we weathered AFCON and everything. all five of our guys? No, Bobby didn't travel for Brazil, but I think all like the other four all played in their national team setup, played matches, right? And obviously Stadio and Mo were, playing like long matches, whatever it may be, and what depends and everything. And so like I'm a bit weary about that. Like as much as like, like so if they let's say we're rested like almost like a Trent situation, and hopefully Trent's not that severe, and hopefully, knock on wood it isn't, given Jurgen's sort of mind games there, or for Alex Ferguson's style, But I feel like it might be a lot like like when Mo came back from AFCON, he had played something like almost a season and a bit more, right? And like and that's like the amount of matches that AFCON have. So it's like I don't know. I'm kind of a bit weary, but again, that could also just be more matches. You're more in a rhythm, and you can hit the ground running. And it's Watford. At the end of the day, you're hitting Watford and Benfica first before the big one, right? So
Watford is, they've
no, I'm not suggesting Watford is nothing, but we're playing in Anfield. Sorry, we should be winning that. I don't care who it is, but we should be winning that.
Before we get into the starting team, the only thing I want to say about Watford is I'm confident it's at Anfield. It's all good.
Yeah.
However, they have a better away record than they have at home, which is weird.
They do.
So like there's a lot of COVID teams did that in COVID because obviously the home fans were neutralized by not being in the stadium. It's very weird that this Watford team has a better away record than home. And it's not even close. Yeah. It's not even like 10 points at home and 12. It's like 57. I think they've got 22 points and like something like that. And it's like 15 of those points are away and 2 points are at home. Sorry, 7 points are at home, which is really weird. They've almost got double or more than double the points away. So that's one thing to be wary of. The second thing to be wary of is Emmanuel Dennis has got like 9 points. Okay. Like low key, he's got like 9 goals. I just said points like it's he's got like 9 goals, which is again, like nothing to be balked at for a team who's like definitely battling relegation. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to say is Sissoko's playing for them. So early penalty.
Oh, Sissoko.
I'll take an early penalty if
You missed one though, Azaz. You missed the big one.
Roy's I didn't. Back. I saved it for you.
Roy's back, right? I was gonna say Roy's back, right? Or Roy, right? I mean, what do you think? Do you think he can pull a fast one on us? Look, he's got them more organized and all that after Ranieri left, but like honestly, I mean, it's Anfield, and if we're not motivated for that match, at least come to or at least come out. Even if you go down, like that's the thing with the squad. Like even a goal down, even against let's say City, and knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But like you still have that this is not a weak-minded sort of mentally weak team. This is a really, really strong outfit we have here. So anyway, why are you smiling there?
No, I'm just listening to your verbiage, man. It's just you're just on point. But what's an interesting perspective is where they are in the table and who's just above them, right? So I look at the table right now, and Watford's got 22 points, and the Blues, the Blues of Liverpool are at 25 points. It's very interesting, right? So it's like, of course, we want that. We of course, I think we're going to win. I'm hoping. I don't know. From a rest perspective, those guys like Diaz. Colombians, they lost as well, right? So he's going to be gutted, and I think he's going to be a bit revved up. They did travel from far, right? So all the folks, they traveled from quite a fair distance, right, to come back to the UK. So I guess the training of this last couple of days, I guess they're all relatively in contention because knock on wood, I don't think anybody got any knocks, right? Trent coming back, so I think from the team sheet perspective, we've got the whole gambit to choose from. I'm hoping that they do get I don't know who's going to play, but they get the revved up because they had whatever happened to them in their country teams, and they're just like, okay, I gotta, they snap out of it mentally. I'm on the pitch again. I gotta go. Hope the pressure doesn't kind of come to them, like they can persevere forward. But it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of rev up. But the good thing is though, right, which is interesting, is that no matter what, this 50, 60, 70 minute, we already have another 10 guys or 11 guys that we can put on, which is like fantastic. Which
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Sorry, just a quick tangent to that. Jurgen got his way, right? I mean, next season, right? 5 subs.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe we can talk about that later. But that was, that's a big win for us, especially with the beefed up squad and Mo signing, of course, in the off season and us retaining our players. But anyway, sorry, Zaz.
No, there'll be time for all that talk for sure. I feel like the Mo saga is gonna have a couple more twists and turns. The subs.
But what about Mo Salah?
we inside joke there of a long conversation that we will probably host in the summer on this Toronto the LFC Toronto show. But no, back to the Watford game. Interesting point that Jake brings up about Everton, because like they always want us to lose, but like this time they probably don't want us to lose, right? Because it's almost like conundrum for them. But I think the big thing for this weekend is what a motivation to be 14 points behind and then to potentially be Liverpool top of the league. I think that's a huge incentive that we get to finally play first. Like we've been playing catch up for 3 months, on games and points. Like think about the mentality to have to just keep going. And now you finally get to the point where you can sit on the top, even if it's for 2-3 hours. I think that's a massive opportunity for us, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Agreed.
And you know what? I think, though, that like, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I don't know. I think that the way that Jurgen and the coaching staff and just the coaching staff and whatnot, but they're just their mental state. I don't actually think that they look that far ahead. I know that it must be human nature to look far ahead, and what if we win 10 matches in a row? But I feel like, just to your point there, Zaz, about having that mentality. I just think our players are so conditioned, right? And even the new ones, even Diaz, he's joining an outfit that's super mentally tough, right? And even in the last year where we were down and out, we had experienced a massive run of injuries, and then the dip in form, especially at home, Anfield or Fortress, everything else, and then to go on that mind-boggling sort of Allison nice glance in the corner, like that run, just speaks volumes in terms of the mental fitness and the mental acuity of this squad. And I feel like that's the thing that maybe breeds more confidence for me, is that doesn't even phase them. They're just next matchup, next man up, next goal up, next save up. You know what I mean? Sorry, Jake. I mean,
one of the interesting things that I was paying attention to after that happened was when Ahmed last week was mentioning the actual media, the Egyptian media.
Yeah.
And I was looking, and I was like, there were some shitty articles. There were some pretty hammering articles. It's tough. Literally, if this guy leaves
Mo,
yeah, right. If this guy literally today, if this guy leaves Liverpool and goes back to Egypt and goes into the presidential race, he's going to be the president, in a second, if that's the move.
Yeah.
But they just hammered him on so many different levels, right? And you know what? We've already gone to the point of the green lasers and all that kind of stuff, and we referenced that it's difficult climate, all that kind of stuff, pressures, blah blah blah, and those types of things, right? And they just hammered him, and so it's I can totally see what Ahmed / Mo was saying last week about the mindset of that media juggernaut in Egypt, just putting in his head that you are not that guy or you're not that good. And we see something, we see it in a completely different lens. And I'm just
Jake, sorry to cut you. Our fans are the same though. That's my passionate defense of
Here
this.
we
go. No, for real though.
I'm joking.
No, honestly though, right? We've got, you think about it, Gerrard, right? Torres, Rush, Barnes, these guys were unanimously loved by Liverpool fans, and Mo is every bit as good as them. Whether you rank him 5th or 6th or 7th, or it doesn't matter. In the legends of time, okay, so we win the quadruple this year, for example. Let's play it out. He is our star player. He's going to win the top scorer. Yeah, he's going to win the top scorer. He's potentially also like the top assist guy. He's possibly going to win both PFA and Football Writers Player of the Year award, and yet he's not universally loved. That's like pretty toxic to me, to be honest with you. Like I find that pretty offensive, to be honest with you.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think his see, the thing is that, you know, like you think about like how Mo is viewed, and I think it's a great point you bring up as. But if you think about like what Liverpool is in terms of this team, if you really look at, you know, if you just throw the question out, who's the most valuable to Liverpool Football Club right now? Actually, there will be a debate.
Of course.
There'll be a debate, VVD, but you know who actually supersedes everybody is actually Jurgen Klopp.
100%.
And I think honestly, I think what ends up happening is that, you know, Liverpool fans, and maybe this is writ large or at least like a broad stroke here, but it's like people have to come to grips of like having a star player, and that friction exists with Mo wanting to be individually. He wants to be recognized. Having that friction against the team, cohesive, and yes, there's there's great players at every position. Literally, like, you know, you've heard pundits wax lyrical about like, you know, every single position is essentially a world class player, maybe one or two, maybe max. But even then, we have world class on the bench. So it's like, the thing is how do you single that one great player, which he absolutely is. Don't get it twisted. For me, you will know, and you will hear it here. He's world class, and he's been the best player in the world this season, just as a whole. His form's taking a bit of a dip, but like that's the problem is that you know, folks need to reconcile that in their head, which is like, you can separate the player from the team and actually just recognize his individual achievements, right? Because they did that with BVD, and BVD is generally loved and you know, and admired and all that. Now he's come back from an injury, and he's not the key player, but a lot of people actually consider him a key player. Mo has had this bit of like sort of like unfair judgment. He's producing the numbers, but there's always that battle. Is he selfish? Is he doing it in the big matches? Yes and no. Sorry. No, and then yes, in terms of the form and ladder. And I feel like, you know, you're absolutely right. I feel actually at the end of the day, if you think about everything, he's actually treated really, really poorly, even by our own fan base, and that's disconcerting.
100%, 100%. Like it's bonkers to me, the level. We've never had this before, because like the numbers say we've never had this before. Like he's outscored everybody. He continues to. His assist ratio is better than anyone else's as well. It's become like Mo Salah has become my favorite player. But like in 2018, so we signed Mo in 2017. That year, I've got Sadio on my home shirt and Mo on my third, the orange kit. Right. This just shows how it's this just shows how it's flipped for me. That year, we buy Van Dijk. Van Dijk is on my next two shirts. So the one we win with the Champions League and the one we win the league with, they're both home shirts. Is Van Dijk. Both of those years, I got Salah on an away shirt. The reason I went to Salah after that is because, you know what, as the way I identify, read into that what you will, I have to support him. I have to support him because the media don't, our fan base don't, like, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. It's actually unacceptable, to be honest with you. Like, people quote and other than this recent like run as well of where fine, like his agent and there's these little pieces of stuff that's coming out. Beyond that, his character has also been
he's been unbelievable.
And like, you know, you look at the pantheons of greatness, like Gabriel Batistuta, like Brazilian Ronaldo in our era, Marco van Basten. Like, who out of these guys passed? Like which football are we watching where a star striker looking for golden boots and individual accolades is rolling the ball across? I feel that's a FIFA thing. Like, I actually think because on FIFA you can just press through ball and like, you know, like the guy running with you rolls it in. You know what? We did see Barca do it. We did see Barca do it. Like Barcelona did do that, like the mid 2000s and then the 2010s around that era. That Barca did used to roll it across and someone would tap it in an empty net. But that's it.
Right.
You know, like that's it really. Like, you know, like the great Man U teams, the great Arsenal teams, they shoot. Strikers shoot, and he's greedy.
Yeah.
He's greedy. He's got more golden boots than the rest of them. He's got more player of the years than the rest of them. But no, apparently he's not. It's bizarre. I find it bizarre.
You know what? I don't think people don't rate him, but I totally see what you're saying. He's definitely disrespected. Jake, what do you think? Only Mo Salah, right? You know, the only Salah. Please continue.
I went to the office this week after a couple of years, and whichever day the banter was, the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I'm not sure which day it was. I went into a meeting. Like I came out of the meeting, and on the WhatsApp chat there was like 300 messages from the banter of basically between the whole rationale of just him, where he is, the thought process, who's supporting him, the hate, right? Like, and you know, sometimes we're so quick at the pub to be like, get him off. Not me, not us, but some of the voices in the audience is so quick to just hammer it, you know. And that's one of the problems is that because we've been just lulled with all this happiness for the last couple of years of the levels he's been playing at, and when it just dips for 5 seconds, we're so fickle that we get
that's it.
off. And then that point of reference is that they're like, what did you do? Oh yeah, I know you scored 30 goals or 20 goals, whatever else, like last year. No, but what are you doing for me right now? Like right now, what are you doing for me right now? I know you just won this Player of the Year award. I know that, but no, but what are you doing for me right now? And like the whole premise, like, is it society? Is it this? Like, I respect him immensely. I respect his whole demeanor, like the whole euphoria of his family life, his professional life, everything. He's a model citizen, and we are so lucky to have him on every level. And I respect him, and I have him on the yellow kit this year. So I have him on my Ronald McDonald kit. I have him on that this year, and I could not be happier with the investment, and whoever made that choice and however said, I don't care if he was the 5th, 6th choice or whatever that notion is, to him to progress to what we have in our hands right now, to be when he's on the pitch, the opposing team, even if he's coming 67, the opposing team, they switch because they're like, shit, I have to. The midfielder switches over, the center midfield, the center back switches over a little bit to the back, and they're just like, they're cognizant, they're completely cognizant about him being on that pitch, and that long ball across from if Virgil is there or Trent or any of them basically hitting that ball, their mentality is completely different, and he is like, he's our star, and of course I appreciate that, right? So I mean, I love him to death, and I'm very happy and lucky as a fan after some of the shit players that we've had to get some quality like this for the amount we paid. I love it. I don't care.
You know, just to add one more thing onto this as well is, so the WhatsApp chat that Dan's talking about, I was very pro Mo Salah. The thing is, one of the points that I was making that was never really acknowledged, even because people are very like, they want to make their point, but they're not acknowledging like the point that you are making, which is very valid. Which my point was, one of the things that Mo Salah doesn't get the tick on is where he scores and who he scores against. So, you know, if you give somebody like I would argue that if we win, let's say we win 2 or 3 trophies this season, like, and Mo Salah is the top scorer, and let's say he scores at the Etihad. Okay, 3 ifs. If Mo Salah scores at the Etihad, and if we win the league, and if he remains the top scorer, which he's going to, that's the best Liverpool striking season there has been, because it's when you score goals as well. It's where and when he scored goals in Champions League finals. You know, when you're talking about Mo Salah in 17-18 versus somebody else in another season, Mo Salah scored that goal against Roma. Like, do you remember? That's a Champions League semi-final. Like he
team too, right?
Yeah, he ain't scoring 12 goals against teams that are relegated and 0 against teams in the top 4. You know, like, that's a really big deal. Like, and again, like, you know, I would question what are you even trying to say if you're not understanding that point, because I understand that there are people that are more skillful. Like Lionel Messi is more skillful than Mo Salah. Like, and I joked around with Adel Taarabt. Like Adel Taarabt is more skillful than Mohamed Salah. Like technically speaking, technique-wise.
Ben Arfa is like
Hatem Ben Arfa,
like
yeah,
worldly, right? Like
Nabil Fekir, you know, like
Fekir.
like you know,
Fekir
like
Friday, Fekir Friday,
yeah.
tomorrow.
But what the thing is when a man
look like Fekir right here.
when a man
Sorry,
steps up, when a man steps up and like delivers in like big occasions as well, like that adds another layer to a person's legacy. And that's Stevie. That's Stevie, right?
Yeah.
Like you can bring out Frank Lampard's goals. You can bring out Lampard's goals, but then this is a guy who scored in every cup final. Stevie, I'm talking about. So, you know, so like Carling Cup against Man U, Stevie scored. UEFA Cup against Alaves, Stevie scored in the final. Istanbul, he scored in the final. West Ham, he scored in the final. So
obviously the
not all, so not all goals are created equal anyway. You know, so
you know what though. I don't. You know what? I don't think. And again, just to back Mo a little bit on this one. And look, like I agree with you on that. I think not all goals are created equal. The weight of the goal, like you're saying, like the weight of the goal. For example, Mo's goal early this season against City, let's say at home. That beyond the actual technique, that was a goal against City. So that scoring against City is worth something really, really big. And then the manner in which he did it just proves the other argument, which he's totally skillful. So that I don't think people are really understanding like the level when you think about one thing, which is like the gift and the curse, right? At the end of the day, we have the gift right now of 6 straight seasons of Jurgen Klopp at peak football. And we have the curse with players that are world-class, that are so good that we, as Jake said, a bad 5 minutes on a pitch, it's like, get them off. We are very ungrateful. I mean, I'm speaking broadly here, but
broadly,
we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're spoiled. We're effing spoiled.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, so that's that. Now, as a regular sort of like Liverpool fan and whatever, like I think there's a bunch of our fan base who will rate and evaluate a performance or a match or whatever it may be, even a segment of the match, and be super critical. Or not super critical, but like highly, highly critical on that specific run of play. And that's where, and I don't begrudge that, because, certain people have a certain way of viewing a match and whatnot. Now, Sepan, if you know Sepan in Barcelona, he would actually rate, and I'm not throwing him on the bus here, but he's actually come out and sometimes I'm like, I kind of just think about the take. Oh, Mo had a bad match. But it'll be like Mo had a bad match. He scored 2 goals, and I was like, okay, well, if that's a bad match, then we are extremely spoiled. No, but it's not to hate on him, Stefan, or anything like that. But like I can see how certain things are I guess true in some of our fan base's mind, but when you really take a step back, right, and just look at what's happening, right? Like look how we're playing, look how our best players are playing. It's really hard, and I agree with Azaz on this. It's really hard to be critical. Like you almost have to recognize what you have, celebrate what you have, and yes, if there's a down thing of form, like Sadio had a poor run of form, and people let him know. I mean, people would be critical, and maybe still are a little bit.
I was critical, and I was wrong. I was critical, and I was wrong.
My boy here on the back of my, King Naby. I mean, look, there are a lot of people who actually feel he's actually played quite well this season. But guess what? His prior rap gets brought into it, and I get all that. All I'm saying is that I can see how certain people can watch and view a match. But what I would say to them is take a step back and realize what's really happening over a broader period of time, not just like literally like 10, 15 minutes of a match where let's say it's against City or a big team. And okay, Mo didn't make a tackle, or he didn't track back for that one time. It's like, okay, if you want to nitpick, you can do a lot of nitpicking across a lot of matches. So anyway, no, I totally hear your point. And Yeah, it was a spirited affair. Put it like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All good, man. Like I even said afterwards, like, I love that kid. Like, it's all good. Like, everyone's allowed their opinion or entitled to their opinion. It really doesn't matter, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, like, it ends up being, it is what it is. Like, one is a Liverpool legend and one isn't. So, like, it ends up being however you want to view it. No, it's true though, right? Like, one is one has titles. Like, put your trophies on the table, and it is that. But the other part I want to say is, just to your great point you raised about, like, what I just want to add to the top of that is, you can't also have it both ways. So here's an example: Arsenal, right? So either we played Arsenal perfectly, i.e., we knew they were going to come out firing like we do. Arsenal want to prove to their fans and to prove to everyone they're on our level and they are top 4 contenders. So, like, Jurgen and the team, they predicted that. They built the game around that, and the plan went perfectly. So that's option 1, right? Option 2 is, we did play badly, right? And at one point, not the goal, after the goal, we wrestled everything back from them. In fact, like, it looked like in the end, after 1-0, it could have been 4-5-0, right? So they're the two schools of thought, right? You can't have it both ways. Either we played well, and that's over here, or we were crap and Mo changed the game. Because when Mo came on, that's when Gabriel and Tierney were like, "Oh shit!" Like, and they were like,
we can deal with this, man.
So you can't have it both ways. You can't say Liverpool were crap. Mo didn't.
Oh, they won
2-0. Mo didn't have a good game. It's got to be a balanced argument. Otherwise, you are just serving an agenda. Now, for me, in my opinion, I actually think it was number 1, in my opinion. My opinion is, I think we played it pretty perfectly and maturely. We're the mature team. We're the, like, team that's been together. Arteta threw his troops out trying to get a quick goal. We didn't want to fight fire with fire, because Saka and Martinelli and stuff can pick you off. So we were like, you know what? Away day at the Emirates. It's a cold, nasty evening. It's going to be gritty. Don't try and win it in 15. Don't try and win it on 25.
Let them tire themselves out.
Let's win it in 60 and 65. However, if that's not what you think, and you actually think we played badly, then Mo changed the game. Because the minute Mo came on, like, the argument is, you're at your most vulnerable when you've conceded a goal. That's like and, like, Arsenal got rubbish after 1-0. Right, as soon as we scored, it could have been like 2-0.
Demoralized.
Yeah. So who changed that? Like, a double substitution came on. Yeah.
No, sorry. No, I was gonna say, do you guys both subscribe to this? Because I do, which is around, like, how rival fan bases actually rate your players. So, for example, Mo, I felt like, just talking about Mo, for example, right? Let's say in 17, 18, when he first came, like, obviously folks rated him. I mean, he was a big player playing in Roma and some of the biggest clubs in the world, whatever. But after that season, he got a lot of credit. He won the Player of the Year, all that. But there was always this, well, can he do it again? And so then he does it again, and then he wins titles and trophies. Then he does it again, and blah blah blah. This season, when he's playing in the form from August to December, let's say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny watching that narrative with rival fans and some of the popular, let's say, podcasts and certain podcasts, video shows on YouTube, like the Kickoff, for example, and some of the recognition, like True Geordie or Rory, and some of those, they absolutely give Mo Salah his flowers, like, to it, like, beyond what even I thought would even be the case. And if you really, like, watch maybe some of the other shows, or if you read the different, I don't think there's anybody who knows football per se who cannot admit, even at the most fiercest and ardent sort of rival fan bases, cannot acknowledge that he is actually the best, if not the top, like, in the top 3 or 5. I don't know. My Apple Watch came up. My Apple Watch came up because of that. No, but he's in the top 5 sort of best players in the world, and like, that's something, if our own fan base cannot acknowledge that our rivals are direct, like United, like these are people who are like dead set against any of us, but they respect game. And I think he brings that. And to your earlier point, I think is that was about, like the skill and what Suarez brought, and again, for those who are just sort of tuning in and not knowing the background of the WhatsApp chat, but really, I think the other side of the argument was not so much LFC legend, because I think there's a bit of mysticism with him, right, and romanticism of that season. But I felt like, and I tend to agree in a way, that Suarez at that time, given that one, sliver of like example, if you will, was literally unplayable. And like he and Mo are at that level. And if you take it from a broader, Mo all day, he's a Liverpool legend. Suarez, for some people, consider him a Liverpool legend. Now,
he wasn't
necessarily warranted. I don't know, but on his day and the skill and all that, I will put him up there because I feel he was that good, and he proved it, Barca and everything else. But like at the end of the day, if you gave me both sort of situations as a Liverpool player, I still would pick Mo actually right now, and that's a hard thing because for that one season he was unbelievable.
He wasn't unplayable. He wasn't unplayable. How are you going to not score a goal against the top three teams, bro? Like,
fair. I mean,
explain that to me. So we are going for the title, and our star man goes missing in the games against their big teams. So we played. So that season was a really tough race. Now, let's not disrespect 13-14 season, firstly, or our Liverpool team. Like, people talk about 13-14 like it was the season before or the season after. In 13-14, we came second. We got 84 points, which was the best total for the Premier League in our era till then. Multiple teams have won the league with that points total, and we scored 101 goals. I'm sorry, that's not a worse team than Mo Salah in 17-18. These guys finished fourth. They finished fourth. They finished fourth in nothing saying that was a better season. 17-18, like, English teams getting to the later stages was us. Like, we got to the later stages of the Champions League. Nobody else did. Like, we beat Man City, right? So it's a complete, so there's two myths in that argument. Myth number one is that 17-18 Liverpool team is stronger than that. Liverpool's 13-14 team had Gerrard in a majestic deep lying midfield role. Like, he was brilliant that season. Hendo was great. And Coutinho was great that season, right?
Yeah,
in front of them, Sterling, Suarez, and Sturridge were running riot. We know that because of the numbers and the goals, right? So that team is not like, it's not a bad team. What that team needed was a guy to take them over the line, and he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
But I would refute that a bit because, okay, first of all, he missed the first 5 matches.
But I'm not talking about the first 5. I'm not talking about the first 5 matches.
Right. But even when it counted, right? So he scored against United, who were much stronger at that time.
Sure.
I don't remember.
They finished 7th. They finished 7th. And they finished 7th. I'm talking about
So like United, Spurs, now Arsenal and stuff. I'm not entirely sure of all those. But here's what I would say: that match against Chelsea, I think that's the one you're referring to.
I'm talking about the double. Dan. I'm talking about the double header at Christmas as well. Like, I went to the Man City game because I was home. I didn't go to the Chelsea game because it was at London. Yeah, we played back-to-back Chelsea and Man City in December.
That's right.
Then we played them almost
and the famous offside with
in April. Yeah, and then we played them. And then we played them almost back-to-back in April. Nowhere. Like, again,
he wasn't.
So, like, that's not what a star player does. That's not what Ronaldo does. That's not what Messi does. That's not what Mo does.
Yeah.
That's my... And at the end of the day, even if Salah 17-18 is better than Suarez 13-14 is the second or the best. Like, he's either the best Premier League season we've had or the second best. Nobody's saying it's crap. No one's saying that Suarez.
No, I don't think
amazing. No. Yeah, but what I'm saying is the fine margins. The fine margins are You got outscored. Firstly, you got outscored. Whether you were suspended, your fault. Whether you don't take penalties, not your. Like Stevie is an all-time penalty taker. Yeah, sure.
Right.
If you firstly you got outscored. That's the first thing over here. And secondly, the margins are you had a chance to be undisputed, but like 12 goals against relegated teams and 0 goals against that has to be brought into the conversation. You can't just...
It does. No, I think it does. And on the fine margins, I think so. But I've been talking so much. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, Jake.
I think at this like stage of that discussion, it can go on and on and on. I would like a different perspective would be I would love to have a in tune like 13, 14 or that dynamic Suarez on this squad, because that would be a whole nother.
Of course.
But I love both players on different points of reference. I do agree with the fight in the big games and showing up and not showing up.
Yeah.
I think the squads are slightly different, but those are arguable points.
But obviously you can't disrespect that squad. You can't.
No, of course not.
Yeah, you can't disrespect. We nearly won the league. But
can I just say one thing because this notion of this, I'm just thinking about the Chelsea match because it's just in my head. Okay. But you said we played Chelsea. I mean, and we did, and we played Chelsea back to back with City, whatever. But think about who the manager was then. Peak, or at least close to peak Mourinho after winning the league the prior season, right? Or I think so. Was
won the season.
Him or after? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like parking that bus and Mourinho and a Mourinho side parking that bus at Anfield. Now, I would throw out the notion of like sometimes we've been stifled with Mo in our, and I'm saying sometimes it's very, 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 very few, but we've been able to crack some. I mean, most games with Mo and Sadio and all that right now. But when teams park the bus against us, like that season, I don't know. I felt like it's hard to only put it on like it's only Suarez or something, because I mean but I do take your point though in terms of like overall, if it's fine margins, you look at the data and the data tells you, look, in these matches with the big quote unquote teams versus Suarez, that's where I see, and I totally agree. Sorry, Jake. I just wanted to say that.
I think on this point we can go on and on and on. I think we may have to have our own show just on this point, right? But I think that again, I just want to say from those teams in general and the players that we were playing on those teams, we were again lucky that we had those players to play for us, and we experienced and witnessed what we did, whether it's the Magician, Sturridge, whatever else, those goals from that side, and what we currently have. And so again, we are very lucky to have witnessed that kind of greatness in our teams, which is fantastic.
But to bookend Dan's point, like I almost think that like we do need to almost do like one in the summer. We need to talk about that season, because we're talking about peak Mourinho, and we finished ahead of that team. Like we finished ahead of peak Mourinho. Like that because the way the season ended, the season should not be disrespected. Like that's one of the best Premier League seasons that Liverpool have ever had. And in fact, if you count the two, not counting this one, if you don't count the two Klopp ones, like when we were 1 point away and then when we won it, that's the best Premier League season in Liverpool's history. Do you get what I mean? So like we almost need to like do like maybe even like a watch along and like a season review. Like let's see if we can get a season review. And let's get Mo on because I want to see him drool over Suarez. Like when I'm defending Mo against Suarez, like I loved Suarez. Like I had his shirts. Everybody loved Suarez. It's just when it gets to that point, it ends up being about the fine margins. And you know what?
Fine margins. I think
to each their own.
Yeah.
And my thing on that is it does matter to me where you show up. Like I feel like, that's the crux of my argument or my like my discussion point. But like I think I put a link in there later that evening where I was like, there was a thing where they did like a vote and like they asked 7 different Liverpool fans, and 4 said Mo and 3 said Suarez, but like 1 was sat on the fence, and it was like, you're never gonna get a wrong or right answer because it's like
you're not gonna get a majority.
It's like 2 legendary seasons. Like great. Like Jake just like literally said it. Like we're so spoiled that we're like splitting hairs over like that. Like who was better in Suarez? Like, you know, and that's also part of the international break. Okay, just looking at the time, let's wrap it up. You two take away Benfica away. What's the plan?
I think we're gonna, you know, our first choice squad. I think everyone's gonna be there. I'm hoping that maybe Diaz gets a run out with Mo, and I'll take Mo and Sadio in there for the first three. And you know, I want to play Inspector Gadget in the back, just and our normal squad. I'd like to go and put our best foot forward on the first game to show them, maybe make the second leg easier. I think it's going to be maybe a 2 or 3-0 a victory for our side. Danny?
Yeah, I think, and this is away, right? I think the first leg's away, right? And yeah, I think it'll be the same. I think we're going to come out, try and kill it off in the first leg at the end of the day. And yeah, with the 5 subs, like that's a big thing, that rotation. No Trent, or potentially no Trent. I'm kind of eager to see how you think so. No, honestly, I don't think he's. You know what? I have a feeling that there might be some additional rest. I know, who knows, right? But seeing Joe get a run, I wouldn't mind something like that. You know, Joe or I guess even Millie, right? But anyway, yeah, I tend to agree. I think we can put our best foot forward, especially if we wrap up Watford early, right? So if we put 2 or 3 quick first half, rest some players. Then we have the great sort of like impetus to then, put our strong foot forward. Obviously in the first leg. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that happens. What do you think is that?
Lazu?
I think like there's 2 ways we can play it. Obviously, one is we go all guns blazing and like try and finish the tie. So in a way, it's Tuesday and then City's on Saturday, right?
Sunday.
Tuesday and Sunday.
Sunday.
Tuesday and Sunday. Yeah. Actually, that's a good thing. Like Liverpool watch parties, register. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Tuesday and Sunday. Yeah, Tuesday and Sunday. So 5 days apart. Yeah, like I think we go out swinging and try to win it as early as possible with no disrespect meant. But if City can beat Sporting away 5-0. Then why shouldn't we be aspiring to do something similar? What I would say in reverse is, another way of looking at the game is we could be really pragmatic out there and like win it at Anfield, because at the end of the day, it's like you play Watford and then you potentially play not defensive because we don't, but like not try to like exceed yourself, not try to like make it and anything crazy. And you come out of there with like resting some people's legs so they can attack City on the Sunday and then 3 days later at Anfield win the tie there as well. So I'm intrigued as to how Klopp's gonna see it. And this is again a problem with international break because I keep flipping in my mind. Like this theory in my head only came into my head a couple of days ago. Before that, I was like, yeah, you know what, let's just go out first 60 against Benfica, go really strong, take 5 off, yeah.
Do you think that like we're just hearing that, I think I kind of get caught back up into like 1920 Liverpool, or even like 17-18 Liverpool, where we just don't have depth, right? Like in the like on the bench. And I think there's a big thing in terms of our own mindset, which is like we can bring in like world class off the bench 5, so we can rotate quite well. So like, yeah, I think like I don't know, maybe it's gonna be a moot point in the end. You know what I mean? Like, because going pragmatic is one thing. So say that you don't play your best at the away leg, right? And you rest some of our players for City. You also have the opportunity to bring them on at 60 minutes, right? Or 70 minutes and like just pat it on, or at least get back in the tie if we're down. I don't think we're going to be down. So like, it's super encouraging. And you've heard it in the commentary right now, like the narrative right now is like, we're strikers or our strikers up front right now could be the difference between winning the league or not. And that's the big thing. Sorry, Jake.
No,
You're
I'm just,
laughing at
I'm
me.
like,
I can see.
what
Thank
I'm
you for
looking
that.
at is the time, my friend,
Oh, the time, yes.
So with
Time is
that
money
said,
for this man.
you know, I will leave it to Zazu right here to wrap it up, and then, you know, we can bid this one adieu.
So we're all confident for Watford. We're all confident for Benfica. This time next week, we'll talk about the big one. But in regards to the big one, right now, members are able to register for their free ticket for 3 watch parties across the GTA. So we've got Maddie in Toronto, Elephant and Castle in Toronto, and the Sly Fox in Burlington. If you're a member, go to our website, register for the ticket. We're using Eventbrite as our ticketing solution. So please go on, register a free ticket, because then on Monday the floodgates are going to open, and anybody can then register. So we're expecting a pretty big turnout again, like the Carabao Cup. So if you're a member, you might as well just get in there now. And last thing, even if you're coming for the Watford game on Saturday, there's a breakfast, so you have to register as well for that, because we need to know how many bagels and whatnot to bring. Benfica is come to Elephant and Castle. That's where a few of us will be as well on Tuesday. Sorry, go on, Dan.
I was just gonna say a World Cup draw tomorrow. So
Go
tomorrow
Canada.
morning, go Canada. Want to just shout out our Canadian Maple men. You know,
that's it. I think we're done.
All right.
That's it.
Peace, guys. Bye.